Safe and secure automation system, latest trend. Coming up with these information is Mr. Pravenn Shetty from Honeywell. Welcome, sir, please.
Tools which helps us to get this job done better. So let me just give you a little bit perspective of why this is a requirement. So from a plant manager or head of the plant, he is always expected to drive the bottom line better, right? So if you see, I think Vartika ma'am talked about some statistics, but if you see, ideal operation should have been 100%, but because of planned shutdowns and unplanned shutdowns, we typically lose about 10%. And then because of the performance losses, this is critical, and slowdowns, instead of operating at a right spec versus a lower spec, we lose another 15%. So ideally, most of the plants end up operating about 75%. So this is a global average picked up from various plants, which is put across here. So that is the statistics we have. So a plant manager is definitely expected to get this better, which is a need. Then over the period, ideal peak performance versus over a time, there will be a performance degradation. This could happen because it could be because of skill shortage. We will have rotation of people. We will have people, a new set of technologies coming, all that. So over a period, because of the gaps of skills, we may potentially lose the efficiency. So you can see that plant manager is expected to take care of that as part of his role as well. And the third thing, I think Madam briefly touched upon this. She talked about young workforce. We call it as millennials, typically one who is born between late 80s and early 90s, who are in the workforce now. So their style of working or their demand for working is completely different what would have been ideal maybe 10 years ago. So they will, if you see some of the statistics, younger workforce in 2010 was around 20% in the industry, and today it is about more than 40 to 50%, and it is growing up. And if you see their style of working, right? These are some of the VOCs done with those workforce. They are really want to have the latest technologies for their work, whether it is in terms of connecting with peers, whether it is, they also indicate that they are bugged by some of the industries not moving into the latest technology. The third important thing is the rotation, right? People used to spend, the industry average used to be about 12 years, right up to 4 years back, where people used to spend about 12 years average time in a particular company. It is now significantly reduced to about 4 to 5 years, and it is further reducing. So people keep looking for change for whatever reasons based upon their career aspirations, technology changes, and all that. So as a plant manager, he'll still need to deal with this, because this is given, right? Because it's not going to change because we have such people and demography. So a plant manager is expected to maintain his efficiency, still taking care of these changes or the people. And the fourth one, this is on the other side. So we have significant percentage of our knowledgeable resource retiring or leaving the industry. So they carry tons of their experience which they have gained over a period, and they are taking it away, and it is not available. So it is very important for the plant manager to keep that knowledge and then partner with the force what he has, and then use it for the operations. So just to summarize, so these are the 3 or 4 critical challenge a plant manager has, and then how he can overcome this to really get on his efficiency requirements or production requirements. That is where we have worked closely with customers to arrive with some of the programs and tools. That is what we call connected people. So as it indicates, get the job done fast, right, and safe every time for everyone. The everyone piece is the most important stuff. That is where the right skilled resources will help it to make that happen. From that perspective, considering the time we have, let me let me go through a couple of brief programs and tools what we have in this area. And please connect with me or any of my colleagues if you need detail around this portfolio as your need be. So the first one, what we do is what we call assessment and training program, or also we call as certification program. So the training program is pretty common. Everybody signs up for some training with the vendors or institutes and gets set of people trained. But what we don't measure is what is the demand for that training and what will happen after training. These two things are typically missed in big time. So from that perspective, we run this as a program with customers where we have set of analytical tools and services which basically assess the current state of competency or skill. How do we do that? We do that by gathering the set of plant information in terms of process operation data, maintenance operations data, and then shutdowns and the associated slowdowns, mapping it with respect to the skill gaps. So we have different analytical models, what ma'am talked about, using the data analytics kind of technologies, and arrive at a baseline. And then we work with customers and see what programs which will help to bring this from A to B, or move the skill level from 3 to 5. Right? So we develop various programs, what you see on right hand side, for various roles, and then end up doing the certifications and do the recertification every period of time, maybe 3 years or 5 years, whatever suit to the customer. So this is one of the key programs what we do under the umbrella of competency management. Right? So as part of doing this, we do various tools, analytical tools, which I will get in, usage of the current technology of cloud-based services. One need not buy the whole suite of simulators or solutions at their premises, where they can only avail the services which they are required to be trained or which they are required to be certified. Okay, so we have operator training simulator kind of competency which could be sold as a product, which you can use it in the plant, or we can also sign up for a services where you can only go in for the specific set of services which you may potentially need. Subsequently, going above that, if you see, I just summarizing the whole of those solutions. When you see on the right hand side, the analytics, which is predominantly used for arriving at the current competency baselines, and after your operators are, or process engineers or maintenance engineers are trained and got into a next set of levels, you can further go and revalidate how they are operating the plant. So it's not just about certification. We also sign up programs which are outcome, like madam talked about GRM. So whether this certification is leading to an improved GRM in a refinery, for that example. So to that extent, we can sign up the KPIs, key performance indexes, with customers. Then what you see, I will briefly touch upon those tools, and then for all this, where the data comes from. So we do have solutions in terms of our historian, digital twin kind of technology, where we gather the inputs from the plant and then use it in the analytical model and then arrive at the baseline. Then what you see on the other side, lower right hand side, is the using it through a learning management program, what we call competency management service. So we have contracts with some of the Vietnam refineries where we have completely signed up the training management contractor. So Honeywell acts as a license where we manage the complete contract management for a particular refinery, where we work with various people to develop help customer to meet the training demands. So just to get into little bit detail on some of the tools, what you see, we talked about augmented reality, virtual reality based solutions. What you see on the right. So we do have solutions which are currently based on augmented reality, virtual reality based solutions, where either you can use headgears, what you can see it on the picture, without really having a training system at your premise, just by connecting to cloud or through the augmented reality solutions. A maintenance engineer can go through various modules which are required for him to maintain the plant, the whole of control systems what we have, or the whole of field instrumentation we have, he can gain all that knowledge through a virtual maintenance or augmented reality based solutions. Few other predictive technologies. So there are two ways of handling a technical demand, right? One is of course developing the required skill and handling it, and second is usage of technology to replace the day-to-day domain requirements. So there is a reason we have few tools which basically helps which have got domain built in as part of the solution using the technology. So one of that what we call trace, and the other one from a cybersecurity perspective what we call risk manager, and the third one which I want to talk about is performance analyzers. So let me start with performance analyzers. So what we do here is, I think we talked about predictive maintenance. So typically the practice is every 6 months or every 3 months we do a preventive maintenance of a system. Whether system is working well, not well, we still go through some set of checklists and then do the maintenance. But here in performance analyzers, what we do is, based upon this various parameters system is performing, we try to come with a model whether it can give a predictive information of where systems are heading. The way my Emerson friend talked about control valves, we do have solutions in the system area. However, servers are progressing. However, switches are heading. So these kind of analytics will help to take a faster decision and right decision before they break down. Getting a little bit deeper into trace, this is one solution which totally handles the whole of change management, documentation management for customers. So the key intellectual property, which is basically the database which operates the plant, right? This is very key for each plant. So there is a lot of knowledge which is typically housed under this database. So we have this solution under the name of trace, which helps us to manage the whole change, just to ensure that the whole change which is happening to this database is completely authorized, which is very, very important from the current context, because a lot of time these changes happen without real authorization and real without knowledge. But then handling of whole of that and then maintaining the whole set of documents associated with that. It also maintains the data around the engineering anomaly. So what is the right way of configuring control loop or PID loops versus misses because of the knowledge gaps. So it tells you that these are the gaps which you have in your system with respect to an ideal configuration versus actual. Then you can get into the system and then correct that. So whole of that handling we do it through our solutions called Honeywell Trace. The other critical solution, this is where we have got the significant knowledge of cyber expertise we have globally into a solution called Risk Manager. So cyber security knowledge everyone doesn't have in detail in the industrial world. But then for a common man to understand how I am cyber secure today, after I have implemented all the basic solutions like the patching service, the network monitoring, and then backup services, it is very important the way you monitor your plant using control system. It is very important to monitor the cyber security practices or how it is behaving today is also very important. So we have built that intelligence into a solution called Risk Manager, where you see some of the gauges over there. It tells you how you are doing on your endpoint security, how you are doing on your network monitoring, how you are doing on your patching service in the operation technology area, how you are doing it on your backup, and do you see any risks indicators. So the you can see the risk levels. You can further deep dive into each one of those risks and then figure out what is wrong with the practices with respect to cyber security. So this is another key technology which we have developed, which significantly helps customer to take care of the cyber security monitoring. And the last one before I close, as we all know, handling of data in the current technology is must. It is no more option. We used to earlier tell, if you have a USB with your system, try to block the USB or, not to use the USB drives in the plant, such kind of stuff. But that is no more a norm, because handling of data, moving of the data is required as we get more advanced with technology. So how we can have solution which takes care of the authorized use of the USB and make sure that whatever we are using is secured. From that perspective, we have this innovative solution, what we call secure media exchange. So you have to just mount it in your premise as an independent unit. It has a connectivity to Honeywell Cloud for getting the latest updates, either through a wireless services or a LAN connected services. One of the option you can choose. So typically, how it works is first. In the beginning, we put a USB drive into this, and it puts a driver that, and that driver we put it on all the machines which we are required to safeguard. And after that, if anybody gets into the plant, he just checks in his USB drive into this particular tablet, and it ensures that it is completely protected, and it puts a digital signature. Only though, since you have already put the drivers in all the other machines which are in your premise, those machines will only detect the USB which has gone through check-in through this device. And once your job is over, you can check out. It gives all the information on what has been copied into the local machines or which machine, and who is the person. It takes the photograph. All those related secure stuff has been taken care, and you have the complete audit trail available for this. So this is these are very innovative solutions which are gaining a very strong traction in the market. Thought I will introduce you to this as well. So that's all I wanted to share. So please do connect with us if you need more details on any one of this. Thank you very much.